The city that we work in is a city named San Luis Rio Colorado. It's in the northwest corner of the state of Sonora. There's a strata of folks in San Luis that are new to here. The people of San Luis are going to range from the professional level of folks that every city is going to have and need, all of the things that make a city function. You're going to have all of those people here. But there's always a flow of people migrating from the south of Mexico to the north of Mexico for any number of reasons. So there are a number of people trying to start life over again, and to get themselves into a piece of property and a home is a big challenge. So as long as there's a great need here, it feels like a good place to be. My name is Clyde Parker. I have had the privilege of being the pastor of the Friends Church here in Eugene, Oregon for the last 40 years. Getaway Giveaway was the extension of a style of ministry that I've always been committed to. Being able to get people out of their comfort zone into a place where they engage in acts of service. We called our events of getting away and serving Getaway Giveaway events. Made a trip to Mexico, took on the name, and 34 years later, we look back and we're amazed at the things that took place. At the moment, and for the last decade and a half, it's pretty much felt like the right thing to be doing is building homes. So we see ourselves largely as home builders. We've developed a pretty efficient system for getting homes up. And this year, in 2018, we'll build our 260th house. We'll be doing a total of 4 houses. Those 4 houses will accommodate actually 3 families. One family is quite large, so we're building 2 houses in the form of a duplex. Our group this year is right at about 40 people. If you take 4 projects of size plus some small projects, it spreads us pretty thin. But I think people thrive on good hard days of work and the sense of the meaning that comes from being able to see a lot happen in a short period of time. It's a joy to see teams of people just really buckle down and make a house happen in 4.5 days. When it really comes down to construction, we're talking about only having 4.5 days. It almost feels like a commando operation of sorts. But our efforts this year are pretty much focused on the housing situation for 2 families. We've added a couple of smaller projects, gathering with a women's rehab center. We've got a small group of folks they're putting up a house for a pastor of a church. The temptation is always to grow our projects as we find more and more needs, which are very great. Those 2 families have been our focus since last October when we first met them, when we came down and interviewed the families and worked with the caseworkers that are in the area. Our prayers and our thoughts have been in those 2 situations. We work with a government agency that gives us a pool of people. We visit in October and we kind of try and spend a little time learning their story. Mexican government agency by the name of DEEF. We're committed to that piece as well because it's a chance for us to work with Mexican agencies. It already exists and we've become a part of what is already happening in Mexico. But without some preparation, things like this don't happen. Without some...
Hi, Bob. Oh,
Come get it latched in. I'm gonna
The work of Getaway Giveaway spun out of Eugene Friends Church in '85, but the invitation is open to anyone to be a part of it.
The people that organize the trip all do so and all attend because they believe that it's a very real extension of their faith in God. I like to think that it's fairly safe for people that aren't interested in the religious aspect per se, because it's not a requirement to be a part of the group. And if something like this helps them to gain some religious perspective, then great. And if it doesn't, then they still have done great, meaningful work in the world.
Our church at Eugene Friends is the sponsoring organization, but we want our group to be broader than that. We include other churches, other people from our community that hear about the trip and want to go along. I think all of us want to make a difference in the world that we live in, and our culture is not really geared towards creating those kind of opportunities.
My name's John. I've been a house leader for 5 different trips.
My name is Shauna Sidwell. This is my 3rd year.
I'm Spencer. I think this is my 5th year now.
The thing that we're here to do is the important uniting event.
I've been working with Rosa. She's a grandmother. She's taking care of 10 kids, I think, and an 11th one coming. And we're building her a duplex, and she really needs the space because she is working off very little to provide for all of the kids.
They've been living just in a cardboard house, 1 room, 1 bed, and a couple of mattresses that they throw on the ground. So we'll build a kind of a duplexed house for them.
Dolores is a mother. She's been living with her husband and 2 daughters.
A Down syndrome daughter, as well as a daughter that's slightly older. They've been living in a trailer, a borrowed trailer.
Solamente take 2. Okay. Solamente take 2.
We're committed to building homes for families that are in need of adequate shelter. We do that in Mexico, partly because it gives us a chance to be bridge builders, ambassadors of some kind from the States to Mexico. People in Mexico that have some of the stereotyped imaginings about Americans that Americans have about Mexicans. It seems the best way to me to overcome that is to get people together, to have them in the same place. Now, every Mexican knows that our country wants to build a wall. I want Mexicans to at least know a few Americans that want to build bridges.
I remember
Window side on this side.
Okay.
We started with about 27 people in our first group. Next year we had close to 40 people. Word began to get out farther and wider, and we ended up in our 4th year we had over 400 people. And it became obvious to us that we did not want to be the administrators of a giant endeavor. So we began to encourage groups that were coming with us to begin to develop their own projects with the contacts that we could introduce them to. And there have been at least 10 groups that have spun off of Getaway Giveaway. So at the moment, we're doing our best to kind of keep our groups between 50 and 100. As we get close to that 100 mark, we try to find a way to spin off some people so that they can start doing their own projects, doing their own administrating, their own coordinating. And we feel like we're all able to function best in our areas of strength that way.
To the other, I think. Yeah.
Our administrative costs run about 3%, which is about as low as you can find in a charitable organization. Everything's volunteer and small, lean and mean. Our schedule for this trip is something we have to work really hard on keeping tight enough to be able to accomplish our goals. We arrive on a Friday night, build the first walls on Saturday, and we have until Wednesday evening to finish the house. We lose a little time on Saturday and Sunday. They're not full days, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we work like crazy to get those houses done. A little quick update. This is day number 3 of construction. We're hustling to get this duplex house done. We just brought in some reinforcements from another group to help us out. We'll probably have some late night work going on tonight, maybe tomorrow night, to try and get this thing wrapped up. Already people are talking about giving up their dinner time, staying late to make sure that things are coming along in a fashion that is going to give finished houses. We see it almost every year, not because we ever ask for it, but because people desperately want to present a finished house to these families. Probably the piece that's most memorable for everybody is Thursday morning when we go to the homes that we've just built and present the keys to the family and gather around them, pray for the house, pray for the family, and thank them for the opportunity to have been servants to them. It's not something that fits well into a sentence or a mission statement. It's a broader experience than that.
You're very much in the moment and in the mission of what you are doing with each other.
To be able just to unplug and just get recharged spiritually and emotionally.
It's always getting better. We're always figuring out how to optimize everything and always meeting new people, which is the most important thing, I think. Building the house comes with that.
If people have been here in the past, one of the reasons they come back is because of the friendships that they've built with people here in Mexico.
I've just gained so many new friends coming on this trip, you know, meeting the families and actually maintaining those relationships when I go back to the US, like still talking to them. It just feels like I make those new friends and it's a real friendship, and I always got to come back to visit them. That's one of the reasons I keep coming back, is because I need to visit them because they're a part of my life now.
Down here, you know that all of the effort you put in was effort that was really quite meaningful.
To be able to provide a home for a mom and her children, or a grandma and her children, when before they were in a house made of pallets or cardboard, is it's something that we can leave for them, and they give us so much in return. So I just take those memories back. It's pretty amazing.
The biggest takeaway for me over the years has been that ordinary people that come together in groups, share resources and energies, can do way more than you can imagine.
Oh, snap.